So yeah, we'll get started here shortly. I'm just getting myself. Rubik, I sent an invite to the Gamers Galaxie account to come up if you wanna get it up. So yeah, so what have you guys been up to today? Anything special before we get started, or anything you'd like to share, and then we can get the show going?
Good morning, everybody. How we doing? Glad to be here. Another great Spaces by Gamer Galaxie. Thanks for having me up, Wanderingale. Super pumped up. Just got done working out on my way to work, but I got to spend a little bit of time with you guys before I head to work. So just happy to be here and enjoying this great day. ETF is approved here in the USA after some dress today. Woo, woo. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, I'm in two minds about that ETF, but you can have your hype.
I think it's hilarious that it's down after the announcement and Ethereum's up, but I'll live with it.
Isn't that just crypto, though? I mean, it just seems par for the course anymore. just bring it, man. We'll roll with the punches like we always do.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of expected it after it dumped yesterday after the fake announcement. So,
was there an official tweet coming from SIC? Because I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, they put out an announcement saying that it was official now, but I don't think they tweeted. It was just up on their site.
They're probably staying away from the tweets for the moment.
So yesterday they were hacked, and today we may find out their main website was hacked. Let me see what Gary.
Yeah, I think their main website even went down after a bunch of people were rushing to look at it, but a bunch of accounts have posted the screenshots and everything.
Well, this is not really off subject when we are in Web3 space, because if we're getting more legalized, it's good for all of us and all the projects. So I don't mind chatting a little Bitcoin here and there. It's not a big deal. I don't see any movement really in the market at all. So I think what people are waiting for now is some main outlets like CNN, CNBC, Bloomberg to just roll out with main confirmation. I think people get burned after the little hack, and they don't want to load a bunch of guns. So we'll see what's going to happen. It would be surprising if it doesn't do anything, but we'll see.
Definitely. So we'll get started into the main topic at hand. So everyone, all listeners who are here at the moment, sure more will come. But if you guys want to give yourself a wee introduction as we get this going, and we'll start into the questions. So I'm Wanderingale. I'm the host at Thesis, WT, and Gamers Galaxie page there if you want to give it a follow for future updates on anything related to IMX. You're free to do so. And we've got Avalon here. So Avalon, could you tell us who's speaking, or what's your position in Danu Games?
Oh, this is Marius Kalamala, and thank you for having me. I'm the CEO and founder and official PR representative of Danu Game Studios. We have two projects, Gods of Orion and Avalon the Game. Thank you for having us, and we're glad to be with Immutable. This is our fourth chain right now, and that will be the short introduction.
Nice. And Jesus, if you have anything to say before we start, bud?
Not really. I just thanks everyone for coming. Excited to hear more about Avalon. See what they're building and see what's to come.
Definitely. And WT?
Pretty much the same sentiment as the Seuss. The game looks absolutely massive. The light paper, man, it took me a while to look through it, and I still got more to go, but I'm looking forward to learning more about it.
All right. So if you guys have set of questions, I'm going to go with your questions. If not, I am going to spend a little bit time to just talking about the project. And I talk very fast because there's a lot of information, and then I will just stop and I let you maybe ask questions if that's how you guys want to do it.
Yeah, I have a few questions, but if you want to start off and explain Avalon to us, and then I can see what questions I have left over at the end, that'd be fine. Yeah.
All right. So I will start with a little thank you. When you create something, if it's a painting or it's a game or you're building a car, you always appreciate when people come and spend and dedicate their lifetime to actually read through the things or touch it or play with it or at least look at it, right? So I want to say thank you to everybody to dedicate the time and look at the project. The light paper, it's called right now white paper. It's quite massive, and it's really, to be honest, a 1/10 of what we have. We just try to don't publish everything out and don't overwhelm people. We start building the MMORPG 2 years ago. It's about 2.5 years from the design, and in the actual build 2 years. We started that with a group of 5 coders. That group grew to up to 17 people over the last 2 years. We're really tight. We like to work with each other, and we believe in a project despite how many years it's going to take. MMORPGs usually take between 5 to 7 years, solid ones. Anything that it's done within the 3 to 4 years so far has not been doing very well. We decided to use Unreal 4 engine as it gives you the most graphic appearance and it's the most popular for MMOs. Additionally, it's the strongest platform for PC. Unreal decided to change the engine to Unreal 5 let's say a year ago. We will be transporting the game to Unreal 5 to give you more of the better shadows, better lighting, better lumen system. It will look a little bit better on your machines. Avalon in general, for all of you guys that are hardcore gamers, it's like this new twist on World of Warcraft, but using Destiny style raids, so very team oriented 6-person raids, and has a lot of movements like you could see in Assassin's Creed. So more of a fluid movements, jump. Some of our characters have the assassinations too. So it's a mix of a couple different genres when you play it. But in general, what we're noticing, our players always say, "Oh, it reminds me a Guild Wars." So it reminds me, my best times in World of Warcraft. It's very team-oriented, group-oriented, nostalgic in some ways, but with use of the new technology. So Avalon is starts in Scotland in 1200s, and the storyline is based on Templar Knights that we're teaching people the alternate history of Templar Knights, but also we include all the typical RPG fantasy. So we have multiple different classes. We have elves, we have 2 different types of druids, we have different types of knights, we have dark mages, white mages, and we have Vikings. So you have these classes to choose from. Everybody over the years liked the different class, so that's for you. We are the only game in Web3 that I know of that has fully implemented multiple different ground mounts. So we have different horses, we have different other characters that you can ride on, like wolves, sheep, orcs. We are, I think, still the only one in Web3 space that has flying mounts in the game. You don't see that in many MMOs. It's quite difficult to make. So we have different flying mounts, and we have PvP battles in the sky with dragons that nobody has, honestly, that I've seen so far, implemented in regular MMO. So your movement is on the ground mounts, on the flying mounts, and we bring in the sea mounts too. So that's all this little nitty gritty about what's inside of the game. Now, game is begin in Wax Chain, and the reason was Atomic Hub and Wax itself were very easy to build on and given access to the community, and it was the most active community when we started. About a couple months later, we brought Polygon in and received grant from Polygon for production, and we brought Polygon in when Polygon was still quite a bit there active with their gaming division. After that, we have added Binance chain when their NFT division was active. And just recently, a couple months ago, we have added Immutable, and we are on Token Trove, and we are currently on Immutable Marketplace. If you ask about where the collections are, Avalon is a third-person game, but Avalon has also a first-person game, which I think is amazing. So when you really like the exploration and you just press F for the first person in MMO, great. There is no first-person fighting, but first-person exploration. Avalon is fully ported into controllers, so you can work with your Xbox controller, and you can also work with your Sony controller if you have a certain port to it. Avalon just today has been tested and published for browser-based platforms. So very soon you can play Avalon anywhere on anything that has a great internet access through the browser, right? I think that was like the main introduction. I probably missed a lot because it's a really giant game, guys. It has all the in-game economy that you can imagine. You can be anybody and do anything. You can gather, you can sell, you can craft, you can own forges, you can sell horses, you can be giant landlord and just collect taxes. All these systems are implemented. I believe we are the only game also in Web3 that has a fully claimable housing system that you could see in like Black Desert, for example. So you can have a home in any of the 4 chains, you can approach it, and if it doesn't have an owner, it will verify that you own the NFT, and then you take an ownership of the actual home in a game, and that opens you the extra chest, the doors, the extra crafting, and all that stuff. I haven't seen nobody do that yet. It was a big challenge, to be honest, to make it in 4 chains. I'm a big fan of bringing all the communities and all the guys that's supporting certain chain and then choosing what works the best for the game. This is not the last chain we're implementing. We will still expand a little bit. Just recently, 2 months ago, we've been approved for Epic Games. We are launching this year, sometime mid-year, with open beta. And we are the #1 upcoming game. If you type NFT, their filters are putting us as #1 upcoming game for Epic Games Store. And we are in the top row to the left. Well, I hope that helped a little bit, guys, and I'm open to questions.
Yeah, definitely. So if you guys have any questions before I start into mine, go ahead.
Yeah, I was kind of interested in, you were saying like the taxation, land taxation. So that's kind of like revenue distribution, if you will. How does that work? Are you staking the actual land? I saw something about you also have it's probably separate, but you have staking of chests where you can have like sponsored type of raids and things like that. So it sounds like something where you would have like a group of people or guilds going after certain like raid bounties, and whatever is in the chest is actually sponsored by someone or some entity.
So we do not stake our NFTs. I think from my understanding is staking is considered security these days. So we don't have it working like that. There's no stakeable NFTs of Avalon anywhere. There is no a token that is listed on exchanges or it's going to be listed anytime. Nothing like this exists. It's more of a player-based creative of item economy that you guys know over the last 20 years in many games. These have been successful and they're still working. Now, how the taxation works. Taxation is subject only to the temple owners, which is one of the largest buildings. Basically, imagine that like you own a townhouse in your town and you're the mayor and you're taxing all the businesses around you. So whoever builds in your village that you own as the temple owner will pay you the tax amount. You can create a tax haven and say 0, come in, like United Arab Emirates do, for example, Emirates, and then they cancel that after a couple of years. You can do that too, and then you can charge taxes up to 5.5% of anything that's done by the businesses around you, and it's automatically deposited to your AVL in-game token account, right? So that's how the taxation works. There is a chapter on it in the light paper, and you'll probably require a specific AMA because it's a big subject. But we have multiple temple owners. They're running their staff. They have different businesses already around them in the villages. People just repair stuff, buy horses, and create bread. And once the business cashes in an AVL inside of the game, that AVL gets deposited to the temple owner. Aside of that, when you look at the taxation, it's not a very wide taxation like it's done in Ember Sword, for example, that how close you are to the temple, you're making that much money. No, it's a solid system like you will see in regular life. If you walk into your city and you're going to ask them how they taxing businesses, it's just the same style like we have here. And the castle that owns the whole island, then the castle tax everybody, including your temple. So I hope that is quite good explanation. I'm going to run through it again. Between 0, because it's up to you, all the way to 5.5%, you tax from every active business that runs within your village. So that's how the taxation works. What was the second question?
I thought there was something that I saw. I might have been mistaken that there was something like STKC
Yes,
that had to.
STKC, stakeable chests. Correct.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was talking about, staking.
when we started with STKC, the regulations were significantly softer into the Web3 space. In the last year, as everyone was able to see, regulations became a lot tougher on Web3 and what we can do inside. Therefore, we're trying to be compliant as much as possible, and we don't allow bringing any external things into the game that then you can reward to people. That's not going to work like that. So how the STKC works currently, for example, there is a raid and the guild wants to sponsor the raid for their players, or players want to sponsor for the players. They reward them with in-game NFTs. So anything that it's currently in-game, it can be staked to that chest, and then the winners of that particular raid will receive the rewards from that chest. Number one guy will receive the largest one, and then it's divided by your activity within the raid. But these are the items that are coming directly from the game. What you do with the item, if you list it on the market, or you're going to use it, or you're going to expand to another home, it's really up to you. But it's not an external something coming that then we separate to people. I just want to be very clear about that one.
Awesome.
Open to more questions.
Awesome. Yeah, I've got 2. One's a pretty easy one. How many game developers do you have working on Avalon? That's my first question. And then the second one, I want to give you props for taking the cautious route on the securities and regulation standpoint. You're not alone. A lot of other game companies are doing that because it's just unclear and it's not safe to do that. My second question is, how you have a scholarship program I've seen. How are you rewarding those scholars with that regulation and uncertainty in mind?
So thankfully, the scholarship system is not implemented yet and will be implemented when the game is going to launch. And we hope by that time, we're going to have some clarity on the regulations and what we could do. The way the scholarship system works is that you as a forge owner, imagine that you are a forge owner, you have a couple players, let's say from South America or Philippines or whatever you want to have them, and they will come and they will start gathering different resources and drop them off at your forge because you don't have a time during the day to run and do resources, right? And you're receiving 8 NFTs, they're characters called Scholar, and these scholars are just going to be hunter-gatherers, basically, that do the thing for you. How you reward them, it's currently not established by us at all. What we talk to players is basically, if it's possible to do it, they received an in-game AVL or they received in-game NFT. So that's something that, like I say, we're waiting. We prepare that. It's ready. Forge owners are not all that crazy to have it, really. And if it happens that it's more of a trouble than a help in the game, we don't need that. It's not the most important thing in the game to have multiple scholars running around. I will touch base on that one in probably towards the end of the year if we see some more clearance here of what we can do, what cannot. But it's an idea in white paper, but it's not implemented. It's not live. It's just an idea. And then how many developers? So we started with me. I came up and designed the whole thing and most of it, and then we started with team of four, and it was pretty tight team, and in and out, I would say we go between 15 to 21, depending on what we need. What happened is Amazon Game Studios um, laid off a lot of people due to come back to work, and many of them moved out to East Coast, Florida, and somewhere else because it's cheaper. Then they don't want to come back, and they get laid off. So we picked up a lot of different people that created New World. Um, and I know maybe not the best example of the game, but it's still a great game. So we have a good group from there. We have a sound director from Final Fantasy, Leonardo Furore. We have Ivan Volchenko that designed quite a bit of Witcher series, all the levels that you guys see. We have a talented people. We don't like to wave the names of companies, and no, I don't like putting logos there on the bottom of my website. Every logo that I have, I'm on paper permitted to have. If I don't have permission, I'm not touching it. Um, who else do we have? We have Jason Sloan that wrote Game of Thrones, the game, most of the quests in that one. So he supports our storyline. We have Freddy Silva, that it's a #1 in the world expert on Templars. You can see him in History Channel, Gaia, Amazon Prime. He's all over the place. And then recently we have Ethan that created all the interest points in um, um, New World, for example. But how the game is created, so let's call it. We have about 14 full time and about 6 to 7 that comes to design and do things, and nobody really spends their whole day working. And this is because Avalon is fully owned by Avalon. Avalon did not took any investments from venture capital. Avalon did not sold or gave anybody any tokens with any promises. We own the whole thing, and we're pretty proud of that. So it may be a little slower, but we have enough funds to pull it off. And when the time is going to come, and we're going to need additional funds, we're going to get the funds. There's no problem with this game to not being launched. It's quite advanced already. If you guys come and play, we're more advanced than most of the projects in Web3 space, maybe outside of Illuvium, maybe a couple other ones. I say we're like in the top 5. And we have tons of different mobs that are being created and they're ready. We just need a little bit more time to do it. Now, how the game is created, and this is the first question that you had. How many developers? The developers, there's great games done by 3 to 5 people, and there's studios that used 700 people to build a game that they really needed only 80 people. And that's how studios work. They, overpriced. They put 6 people for one task. It's not needed. The amount is not needed. The quality of work, communication, and a tight team that likes each other can create better products than a giant team that doesn't cooperate well. So that was always my approach to that one. However, what I've done is in January, when we let all the players in, actually in December last year, the majority of gold passes, silver passes, and then purple and emerald, they're hardcore. Let's say a group of them was Web3 players, but majority of them was a hardcore Web2 players that spend over 20 years playing different games, even more, some of them, mostly in MMO space. So now all these players over the last year have been helping us, making sure that we go in the right direction, making sure that we're avoiding all the giant mistakes they've seen in the previous games, and making sure that we have enough fun bringing to the game. It's not overcomplicated crafting. It's not too difficult to find things. All that stuff was a giant brain of over 500 people that submitted forums and help us create quests, help us create towns. So in general, it's yes, the core development team, but also a giant pool of people that have tens of thousands of hours of a gameplay in MMOs. And we do take their advice. We do implement some of the things. We don't let players to dictate the direction of the game, but we make sure that we avoid the annoyments that you guys had before, and as much as we can, we avoid the abuse of the project. So many of these guys that we have, they're experts in abusing projects. So they're trying to find the way how they will abuse it and help us prevent it. So I hope that was a good answer to your 2 questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. That was great.
So yeah, I have a few questions for you. How does the game's lore like influence the gameplay mechanics, the environment, or character interactions? And like, does it affect the story as well? Or if you could expand on that a bit, that'd be great.
So there are games that do it. In the current stage of Avalon ending alpha and going to beta, um, the directions that you take in a game don't really change your general gameplay, or we don't trigger any events at this stage. We're not programmed that far yet. However, we have factions. So you can join a Templar faction, or you can join the Inquisitor faction. You can go either the light side or the dark side. And these factions give you access to different areas in the game and create a different, I would say, a different word for you, because the guys from Templar faction won't be able to access the certain areas of Inquisitor and vice versa, right? It's the same for mounts. So the decision is up to you. You can stay neutral, but if you choose different faction, the game will change for you. That's maybe the only way how gameplay changes, but we are not on that advanced yet to have multiple different outcomes depending on what you do in the game when it comes to the end game, right? So we don't have that. Was there something I missed, or that was the question?
Oh no, that's the question. And I was wondering how does your character grow and develop throughout the game? Like, what's the leveling up system, or if you could expand on that as well, would be great.
Oh, it's something that all of you guys seen before in, I don't know, like Desert New World, World of Warcraft. Standard leveling up through quest systems, standard leveling up through grinding, standard leveling up through raids, and a bonus leveling up that is actually pretty stronger in this game for exploration, finding new locations. So if you are an explorer, you level up quite faster. A grinder will level up pretty well. Currently, the way we have it set up is that in alpha, we have an open level system with adjustment of experience. What that means, you can be any level you want, but we keep players alert that every couple months we're going to be adjusting the experience system. And what that does, it does not remove your experience, does not make your character weaker, but it takes the levels down as we're trying to find the correct phase. Also, in alpha, players don't really care about the level, they care more about the resources, because in alpha, they do not play with their final character, they just play with the passes. Once they're going to start playing with the characters, our XP system is going to be leveled up, and just total basically metadata saves to your NFT. So your character starts at level 1, you have it up to level 110, and you decide that you're bored with the knight, you can list them on the marketplace and he retains the level. And if someone buys them, it comes as strong to the game as you created him. This is something that we know from Star Wars and other games when we were able to create the Jedi with the inventory and access to homes and everything, and then bringing them in. Now, currently, we don't have a level cap, and it's the discussion between us and the players, and also in the beta, when the beta comes out, we're also going to start talking about it. The general team decision, but still going to be discussed with players, but the team decision is to create a level cap, let's say a level 200, and then if the expansion comes out, like Gods of Orion or another expansion, just like Assassin's Creed does it, then we will allow people to unlock additional 50 levels, right? Now, the good news is we really looked at other projects when it comes to leveling up weapons and armor, what failed there. So your weapons and your armor may have a different specs, but they will adjust with your level. So if you like them, they will go with you. And I think that's important for players because you spend a lot of time on finding resources and crafting that item, and then your level will get away from it and it's kind of useless. That's what happened to in New World. So we're trying to make sure that if you gain something that you really like, you can keep it for the years to come because it's your favorite sword and it would still be effective on the level that you have. I hope I didn't overcomplicate this one.
Oh no,
No,
that's
actually,
great.
that was going to be one of my next questions. Was do your weapons and things kind of level with you? So that was perfect. Are you guys building on the ZK EVM implementation of Immutable, or are you using the Immutable X Stark X implementation?
So ZKVM is something new, and I don't like to drive, cars with a brand new engine in the first year. Um, don't want to crash. So we decided to go for the actual Ethereum based for now. The game is not on chain, so you don't have thousands of transactions and issues and fees related to it. The game calls chain for confirmation of ownerships and distributions, and that doesn't affect us very much right now. So we're going to stay in the Ethereum base for now until we'll see how the ZKVM does in the other different games, right? And it's really not a big problem for my team to just change it. It's not a big deal. So we, like I say, I started with the old one. I was watching how Illuvium did in other games, and I feel like it's okay. It's just fine. Um, yes, there may be slow transactions when you wait for removing some stuff from token trove, but it's safe and it works. Um, and we don't need lightning transactions in this game as we're not constantly calling blockchain for something. So I hope that was a good answer.
Yeah, so there isn't any sort of like complex crafting system or anything like that that would require smart contracts or anything
No,
uh,
no,
like
no,
that.
I don't want it. You do everything the way Unreal and the subsequent systems work, and then if you decide that the item is completed, and if our guidance, whichever NFTs we have, allows you to move it, then you basically call the system, and the system mints it for you. And if you're removing it from the game, it will remove it from your character inventory and place it on the marketplace, right? So we do not run tons of blockchain inside of the game. It is really not needed, unless somewhere in the future, um, for some reason, we will have that many things. I've, I'm trying to don't make it overcomplicated for people, and have these items that are NFTs, something that you have attachment to. It costs you time and stress or fun, and it means something. So you're never going to see Avalon having 60,000 NFTs for whatever the price is. I cannot mention the prices, but being very low because there's so many of them. It's more, if you guys look through our collection, it's more of a player appreciation towards other player, and understanding that the person did quite a bit of work to craft that thing. And it's really between players to establish whatever the time and sweat value is in these. And what we do is we do not compete with players, and that's like, you guys are new to this, so you didn't hear that from me. But we, if you, for example, spend 2 weeks and you find all the chests and you request the boots, the traveler boots that reduce your fall damage and speed you up, then you receive them. We do not sell boots like that. These boots are only created by players in game, and majority of the items are created by players in game. The main core items, like your lands, like your characters, like certain event drops and things, they are created by us, because obviously company has to have something. Or I'm not a believer of players own everything, and please don't believe in that, because somebody has to make money in order for this to work. So there has to be items sold by the company and us, but majority of the items crafted in a game, we would never create an item that will be competitive with what players do. And that's how we keep with community very tight. We throw something in the market and we let them try, and they say, no, it's good in that way, but it's nowhere as good as the thing that we created. So that's, I hope that was a good answer. I know it's complicated, but we're really trying to make it right, guys, because it's
Yeah,
not
it definitely makes sense. Having items that are wholly owned or put on the market by the company for its core utility within the game makes sense. Anything that's going to add some other like added, like you said, speed or something like that for traveling time and stuff like that, it makes sense for it to be crafted by some specific community or person or business within the game that you would have to go to.
So not competing with what's created by players and their future marketplace is what we're going for. Also adding a lot of value into the items that you guys create with your hard work and time, such as unlocking new destinations. So many of the new helmets, for example, are parts of an armor, let's say a werewolf armor. And in order for you to go to the werewolf kingdom, you have to have the full armor, or it's not going to let you through the portal. And we're not going to give you access to that portal for X amount of money because you need to have the armor. And that gives community something to do. Even if they only create one for them, they can create multiple ones for other players, right? And gives you this slow marketplace and a candy at the end of this because you have this new giant mob that they can explore. And a lot of locations will be dependable on what you wear or what kind of item you have. So I think that's the right direction that I like. And we do have a couple different. So this is interesting about the art direction of the game, and not everybody agrees with me, and I'm going to stick to it for now. We have a couple different levels, and these levels are in different realms. So basically, in the game, you achieve a state of going out of your body, and your mind travels to different realms. We do not do something crazy like you go to moon, or you know what I mean, guys, and you are in the future now. No, we're staying in the ancient history most of the time, right? But you do travel to different dimensions. Like you go to druids, and their world looks a little different than Scotland, obviously. Or you go to ancient Egypt, which is 6,000 years ago, the one that we go to, and that also looks completely different than your Scotland map, right? So I just want people to be aware of that one, that you may see the differences, like you can see them on our Twitter. We will try to narrow the materials a little closer, so it's smoother, but expect a different worlds, which I think in a way is fun. To just for you to be able to explore different games. Like you can see our Egyptian level works. It looks like Assassin's Creed. I would say our main level is like an advanced version of World of Warcraft, right? And then we have a level that's been really praised by Nintendo in Japan. It's our hunting grounds that you cannot see a lot of screenshots of it, but we have it. It's more fun, jump around, pick up things. The game is very relaxing. Majority of the players that I have, I ask them, well, what you did? Well, I went fishing for an hour, or I went exploring for 3 hours, or I had a really tough day at work, so I just logged in and spent 3 hours just walking around. Not everybody does raids. You're not required to do that. You open to do whatever you want. You don't need to talk to anybody. There's an in-game chat. There's voice chat if you want to do it. We have taverns coming. There's going to be some in-tavern games, some relaxation rooms, and we try to cater to the players that we have, and the age-wise is between 35 and 65. These are, guys, people with families, kids already. They've done and seen everything. They look for the getaway and a little peace or a little relaxation and a good group to talk to over the voice. We cater towards that. We're not huge yet, but there's the years to come. And my main goal is just to deliver and don't make people wait forever, and be active and show progress in a development. Because I see a lot of projects took a lot of funds and they don't show progress, and they don't communicate what's happening. So I hope that was a good and long answer.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I'm looking forward to in tavern games, like kind of like Gwent was, like sometimes those mini games within the game itself become hits. So that's definitely something to look forward to.
The taverns
So,
are coming. It's going to take some time, but they're coming.
so yeah, I want to touch upon the teleportation portals. Like, do they bring you into a entirely different map, or is it just like different locations on the map? If you want
Good
to touch
question.
upon that.
That's a great question. I like it because it talks about how we did it. Teleportation portals, business in a game. That's what they are, in-game business. So don't confuse with anything else. They there's an owner to that portal. Like imagine you have your private little airport, and you have a bunch of planes landing, coming and going, and they'll pay you fees for coming and going. The portals charge different fees based on direction of where you're going. The player that owns setups the fee through contacting a team and tell us, hey, I want to charge them this much of the AVL, and that's it. Now, how they work currently. Currently, Avalon is one giant level that doesn't load any separate maps. It's a one big alpha. It's a one big island with all the villages that we have, all the guilds, the harbor, and everything, and all the raids are in one map. Currently, the only separate map that we have is the hunting grounds. Portals don't go there; you have to go to the separate gate. So to answer precisely, currently portals teleport you between different places on the giant island. And players go and perform tasks and come back and meet up in the main villages, and go back to another end of the island. They will take you even on a horse 15 minutes. It's a big island. When we do our races, the race on the horses from one side to the other side takes about 15 minutes. So it's a large island on the fast horses. Therefore, portals became very popular, like we expected. People use them. There's enough AVL in the game for you to gather, grind, and then spend it for moving around. In addition to portals, we have runes that you find in different little nooks and corners, caves, and these runes also teleport you without a fee. So you have some help. Not always you need to pay to be teleported, but I love portals. One of the greatest ideas aside of mills. Mills became insanely popular. Food crafting is a big thing for people, I think. Yeah. I hope that was a good answer.
No, that was a great answer, man. And in terms of customization, does Avalon offer any forms of character customization or any types of customization of like maybe like wherever your character lives? Is there like is there like houses you could acquire that you can customize and stuff like that?
So absolutely, and I know everybody loves that. So in the alpha, and please keep in mind we're just in the technical alpha. Our characters are not modular yet. They're not modular, which means you can't change the little bits and pieces when you play it. They're not modular in the alpha. They will be modular in the beta, the main NFT characters. Now, what that means, you're going to be able to, you can already change color. They're already customizable to the certain point right now in the game, but you can't just flip helmets and put different gloves and stuff. That requires a lot of different things to be attached. In beta, we're going to allow people to change capes, helmets, boots, and things like that. We're going to slowly allow you to change more and more things, but 40, 40 customized characters in MMOs are very expensive. And I know people like to look out different from each other, so we're preparing that, and it's pretty much done for beta. You're going to be simple customization. However, also we have a different types of characters. They're legendary, epic, mythical, and they come in different colors. And we decided to don't let people to look the same like mythical, because someone else, have the mythical. They need to stand out. So it's very delicate for us to let you customize and then don't have this guy look the same like legendary, for example. I know. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. So we're trying to let you tweak them, but not all the way full color customization. So it's still a lot of work here. Keep in mind we have 6 classes. It's a lot of work for us. We just finished 2 classes. They're fully customizable, and we're working on the third one. So in the future, in the final game, definitely not right now. Don't expect it tomorrow, right? It's the same for horses. We have different saddles. We have different colors of horses already, different manes. It's the same for dragons. You can add little things to them, but that's all in the main release.
Definitely. And I want to pull it back to the lore a bit. So I see you have like different time periods and different fantasy stories, like the mythical side of things. What was your inspiration in the selection process of and like how is it all going to be tied together? Because there's you got Knights Templars, you got Inquisitors. Then I see you're going into like the Vikings sort of stuff, and the what's the other one? Like even the Celtics with the Druids and stuff. How are you going? How is that all going to get tied together into
So
a
yeah,
story?
so they great question. I love it, and this one you better get a Red Bull because it's it's an interesting thing. So one of my main inspirations was Knights Templar, and their inspiration for a lot of people until today. We don't know many things. We just know some things that they want us to know. So that was the main inspiration by how do we put the Knight Templars inside of a fantasy world, and how do we keep it medieval, but how we don't do it boring at the same time, because there's so many medieval games and they're just kind of the same stuff. So I've did that spin-off with Justin Sloan that did Game of Thrones, the game. And you can see the first chapter is by him. So you have King Arthur. That it's England, Scotland back in the day, and then you have the story where King Arthur always was supported by Merlin. That was a druid, right? But at some point, Templars arrived, and right behind them, Inquisition, because they were trailing Templars to see what they have, what they're hiding, what they took with them. And when Inquisitor arrived, he went to the strongest person in the kingdom, which is King Arthur, to become his advisor. And he managed with, let's call it dark magic and gold and wisdom, or however you call it, convince King Arthur that any magic but church magic is the bad magic. That means the druids became ba- basically the black sheep of the kingdom. And that's how the druids are coming, because you had a Merlin, right? And druids were pushed back into the forests by knights, and everybody was chasing basically an inquisition after them. And then druids opened the portals, because druids didn't have nowhere to go but back to where they came from thousands and thousands of years ago, which is a different dimension. And when they were opening the portals, and that's what everybody's asking me, holy crap, Marius, we have orcs coming. When they were opening the portals, there was a glitch in the open, and another kingdom merged. That's how we received elves and orcs that were in different dimension, right? It gets complicated, but hold on to it. So we have two factions. We have King Arthur and his knights, for now, cooperating with Inquisition against druids, putting forces together with Knights Templar. So that's how I kind of mixed it there. Yes, the King Arthur was a giant inspiration. The Knights of the Round Table, we bring one of the Knights of the Round Table was a Templar. You guys know that. Another one was a shapeshifter. You also know that it's in the books. So that's how we brought werewolves. We have a werewolf faction. We have a vampire faction. Now, how the Vikings tying up? Because a lot of people is asking. Well, Vikings were in northern England and in Scotland back in 1100s. They came between 900 and 1300 and stayed and first fight against the kings, then with them, and then they get banned later in 1300s. But we have the two factions of Vikings, because you guys know they travel a lot and they stay. So historically, we are quite effective. Plus, we have a lot of players that really loves Vikings, despite that majority is Templars or Inquisitors or Druids. But there's decent faction that really likes Vikings, and Vikings are our boat builders or horse trainers and horse sellers. Um, I know this is not the best explanation of the whole lore because it's very long, but I was trying to tie it up how this is started. And then once you level up your characters and you can travel from your body to different portals, then you're going to be able to access the Egyptian expansion. That's something that I don't want to even bring to this one yet, but that's right there that we're building on the side of it. I think it's quite interesting. I think it's not going to be all that mishmash like people think. It's actually tying up well together. If you read through all the chapters of the lore, you will see how the Druid princesses and what they're protecting, why they're protecting the crosses. Every single nation has their chapter, and why Vikings hate the Inquisitor, because the moment he acquired the power, control power over the fire dragon, he came on the Vikings hard. He tried to cut himself a land, right? So there's each part there. There's not a whole lot about Templars yet, just that they came to the island and they start creating their temples that are owned by players and little villages and start protecting. And they're working currently on communicating and tying up with the ice dragon that the Templars can fly. That's important. I want to bring for everybody really quickly. We have 3 types of dragons. They're all fly, they're all fight. You raise them. We have a dragon that's water dragon. That's for a water druid only. We have a fire dragon only for inquisitors, and we have an ice dragon only for Templars. Now, these dragons have effect on the environment, so you can burn, you can freeze, you can flood, you can support each other or fight each other. Currently in the alpha, already we implemented burning of the temples with the fire dragon. You can see it on Twitter. Players love it. And then ice dragon and water dragon can support and put the temple down from the fire. I hope that was long, I know, and quick, but I was trying to give you guys some info.
No, that was
awesome.
great. Yeah, that was great.
I wanted to know a little bit about you guys are planning to launch on consoles as well?
On Comcast? On
console?
On consoles, yes. So so we are in talks for back and forward all the time with Xbox Live. The problems are it's not a really problem. The NFT version cannot be launched on any of these platforms. There's no regulations, there's no clarity. They don't want to touch it, they don't want to hear about it. That's like a straight answer, I can tell you guys. However, if there is a pure version that doesn't have nothing to do with NFTs, then they're way more open to launching it immediately because their MMO crowd is quite large and they all see large potential of incoming people. So when we have these conversations and we say, hey, we have an NFT, oh, if you get the other version, let us know. That's how it's working. The game is ready for Xbox. It's ready to, in the beta, can already go for players to go and try it, right? But we still need to finish some things. Now, I spoke to Sony when I was at GDC, and Sony says absolutely. If you implement the new controller that we have with all the new haptic things, we're going to stand behind you. We're going to send you guys equipment. We'd love to see projects that are very ambitious and bring them in. However, let's not make it NFT. It's the same mention. It's due to lack of regulations. So that's not something that we're pushing to launch tomorrow. We hope by the time we're ready, there's going to be more clarity on that. And porting and changing the game from PC into the console is really not a giant task these days. There's companies that are going to support us in this. So we're planning to be everywhere. We just finished the browser version that's going to be available at some point. It was the first official test when we did live stream for everybody. There's no place that we don't want to be, but we do not know if we're going to be able to be there in the blockchain version. And that's not our fault, it's the current regulations. So we have to wait before we make any decisions. Epic approves us. They look through everything and say, okay, you don't have any withdrawals, you don't have this, you're fine. You don't do any major issues like some other games, that gambling and stuff, that they came back. They look at everything because they just don't want to be in trouble. They don't care. They have so many projects. When it comes to Steam, there's tons of games that are on Steam, and there are also NFT games on the other side. Their NFT version is not on Steam. There's regular version on Steam. So we started discussions with Steam too. Guys, everybody welcomes MMO projects if they're not made by kids and they're decent, because it's a giant revenue stream for all these platforms. People stay and play them for years if you bring a new update, so they don't brush you off. But they don't want to have nothing to do with blockchain. So we will be on Steam at some point. Maybe by the time we're ready, Steam regulations will change. If they don't change, we're going to be a regular Web 2 on Steam whenever the time is going to come.
I think that's interesting that Sony even mentioned that they don't want NFT games on there when they actually
straight into my face, not on the paper, but straight into my face at GDC. They say, Marius, come on. This cannot discussion.
They actually have a patent that controls NFTs on consoles. So it's interesting that they even applied for something like that or have something like that, and they're not interested in an NFT game. So very interesting.
No clear regulation. I think no clear regulation is their attorney's advisory to don't move forward. Be prepared, but don't move forward.
I understand that there's no clear regulation, but if they don't do the actual NFT trading or anything like that on the console, then there's no worry about it. Like it as you mentioned before, the game has very little blockchain calls anyway, right? So
Yes.
really, all you're doing is verifying ownership. So if you're not actually running a marketplace on their console, there really shouldn't be an issue or a reason for them to say no. If anything, it's bringing more gamers to play games wherever they choose to, whether or not it has NFTs. It's very interesting that there's such pushback.
I would say I'm not in rush. I would say Epic Games was a major step for us. We're happy we got that one done. We just keep on developing. Once we get further and the game is more completed and players feel like it's good now to show it to everybody, then we're gonna see what their new paperwork looks like, and we're gonna go that direction. There, for example, Nintendo, that we are in close touch with since last year. They actually sponsor our whole not them, but their publisher, one of the publishers that works with them. They sponsor our whole transition into the Switch, and that just was completed this week after like 6 months of waiting and different trials. They also do not allow you to do nothing blockchain related within their platform, but they don't mind if you do something outside and bring it into the game. It's not their problem. So if they approach it the same way, and I think they will, then they will not have any problems with NFT games in like maybe 2 years. Or we don't have any rush. Like we still probably are 3 years from this game to be like a full free islands, go there for X amounts of thousands of people. We're not there, so we're waiting. We the game is going to be ready. Whatever the regulations are at this point, we're going to go that direction and just make sure that we don't screw up, because we're building something that it's not a shooter that people get bored of. Or I mean, I love shooters, don't get me wrong, but a game that that you just play through and you're like, okay, what's next? So we're trying to be one of these games that are going to last for a long time. And according to the guilds that we have, and some of them played all these games, there's 1,300 of them live. And we have some big guilds that are big investors in different of these projects. And they come to us and say, well, we played all these games and really there is only this game, and you. Everybody else we played is fun, but then that's it. What's next? We finished. It doesn't have a good loop. A loop that keeps you in a game is the number one winner. Addictive game is what the studios actually look for. So according to players, not me, because I'm very biased, but according to players, we have the attractive loop, and according to guilds, we have the attractive loop. So you can run the raids and you can run the tasks and you can run them for 3 hours every day, and you still have fun, and you still want to come back the next day and maybe do them a little bit differently of different people, but you still want to do them. So the loop, it's interesting in a very early stage, which
Yeah.
we cannot lose the essence of the game while we're building it bigger and bigger and bigger. Because who cares if you have a million different islands to go to if this whole thing doesn't make any sense? So we try to be very cautious, because there's a lot of big projects there that have tons of more money than we have, and they started 3 years earlier than we did, when the boom was there, and they build these fancy looking projects. But then when you play them, the world is empty. Like it looks great, but there's nothing to do. Or you pass the first level and you feel like, well, even if they build 6 of them, I will still not come back, because it's all going to be like linear. So this was like important things for us to make it successful. We have not been looking at any, oh, what's going to be the value of this, or if there's going to be a token, or we just didn't pay it to that. We prepare the economy the best we can. We're still adjusting it with players and looking at other projects. We have, I don't know if you guys know of Mavia. It's a very good game, and they have a very good. They're the first game that went on Apple Store. They have a very good system of internal resources, then tradable and buyable. So this is what we have now, and we're implementing. We think that's kind of the future. So we have a silver that you can gather and then exchange and mint it, and then sell it for AVL on the market. And we're looking at different processes in order, even if we're not playable on Apple, because guys, it's hard, but we want to be listed, so that allows you the marketplace access and some movements into your different accounts, and layout of the characters and things like that. So we're trying to learn from the ones that succeeded, and we're really trying to avoid the whole token thing, where the project is judged by the value of the token, which everybody knows VCs are putting $3 million into the project, or 5 or 10, whatever, and then the project develops. When the project launches, VCs already at the dates of their sales arranging it nicely to kill it basically on the whole group of players. Like this, every project has been like this. So we decided we don't need it. We're trying to build something long term. Small steps. There's going to be games coming and going. We're still going to be building, and just get a solid group of players. And if you come to our Discord and you just ask about the game, you will see how the players reply. So I think that's maybe better than whatever I say. If you love MMOs, this is your game. If you love exploring, this is your game. If you are about creating a value with your time and then putting it on the market, this is your game. But if you're thinking that something is going to raise in value because this is the price now and this is the price later, this is not that game. Like this is just something that I think is going to last for the long time if the team stays where it is, the passion stays where it is, and there's players. And I can say that our wishlist guys grow like a snowball on Epic Games, and we're not promoting at all because we're not going to start promoting this project until there's a valuable beta open to anybody in the world to come and play. We just finished technical alpha after the first year. So I hope I didn't bore you to death. I'm just trying to like give you my vision.
No, that was great, man. Like, also, I like the fact that even though Sony sort of maybe giving you some blowback for the regulation issues, or there's no regulation, but the fact that you're even still pursuing that, getting a user base in the Web2 gaming sphere, and then whenever the tide starts to change and you're allowed to implement, I'm sure it's not wouldn't be a lot to implement it then, and then that will be a huge step. Like, if you have a big player base in Web2, that'd be a huge step in mass adoption in a sense. So I think that's pretty good that you're still chasing the route of play putting the game up on on Sony. So we've come to the hour mark. So if you guys have any other questions, I think I have like two more. Go on ahead, and we can start bringing the space to a close.
No, I don't have any other questions. Just tons of info. This game seems absolutely massive. You guys have a lot going on. Appreciate you stopping by the spaces today. Unfortunately, I have to step out because I'm just getting to work and they require my attention. So I just want to at least say thank you for stopping by. And yeah, I can't wait to see what you guys come out with. The sky's the limits for you guys when you get this thing rolling. So hats off to you.
Thank you so much.
And so my last question is, do you plan on, like, I see you're in Epic Games, do you plan
That's all the questions, seems like.
Pardon?
Or you had some other ones?
Yeah, I have one more question, and you're on Epic Games. Do you plan on going on different launchers like Elixir or maybe the GameStop player when it's released? I don't think you can. Can you guys hear me?
Hello?
I don't know. We're getting connection issues. Can you hear me? Hello?
Maybe there's some questions from audience. Maybe you can give a mic.
Yeah, so I can hear you. Sorry, I have someone at my house right now, so I had to be quiet. But I appreciate Avalon for coming on and taking the time to explain everything to us.
Can you hear me, just this? Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you, man. I can hear you.
He must have been bugging out. He just dropped down. Let's see if he comes back in again. There we go. I invited him as a speaker.
I lost the internet or something.
Yeah, you couldn't hear me for a second. I thought maybe my account was bugging out. But I have one last question for you. I see you're listed on Epic Games. Do you plan on going on different Web3 launchers like Elixir or maybe GameStop Player when it's released?
So we're talking to whoever is listed and that speaks to us. We haven't been really searching because we're trying to go for the largest ones for now. But if you guys have any recommendations or any places we should look at, we definitely can go. I don't think nobody will say no to us at this stage. So we're open to be visible and open to be in as many places as possible with as many. There's so many new Web3 marketplaces that are opening. It's hard to say who's going to survive. Rainmaker Games opened up too recently. I was thinking they're gonna bankrupt, but I see them opening. We are inside of Immutable main website. We're on Token Trove. There is a lot of them that come and ask us, "Hey, can you donate $5,000 worth of NFTs for our members?" I'm like, "What members? What activity do you have?" Like and there's many of them that just gathered that from a bunch of projects, and guys, they get $100,000 worth of NFTs, and that crashes some markets, right? And they end up having 100 followers from, I'm not going to say what countries, but they just bring them in. So I'm very cautious of everybody that tells me, "Hey, I'm going to make you a 25 minutes YouTube video, and we only charge $2,500, and each of our videos gets 30,000 views," and then we tear apart their views, and it's just a giant joke. So we're trying, we're just trying to be very cautious of where we go with, and that's how we start with the main brand names. And I can tell you, we are partner and recipient of Amazon AWS Gaming Division grant. Our grant is open-ended, which means they support us until we finish production, which is very, very, very rare to receive that. AWS Gaming Division veterans that, they're guys that are in their mid-50s, and they advise all the big companies on placement of servers. They came and played a game, a group of them. They love the community. They say, build it, go that direction. They give me a bunch of advices, what to change, what to fix, and they believe in us. And I can tell you guys that if you build something, whatever that is, I'm sure everybody has a passion. And then someone that is really like big in that industry will come to you very early and say, I see a vision. If you're going to make it, it's going to be huge. If you hear that, it really builds you up. So that's what happens to us in the very first year of production when AWS analyzed the whole project, and they say, you guys got it, no worries. So here is the first year, here's the second year. And the servers are a lot of money. So I wanted to bring that up. When all these games that are coming out there, you should ask them first question, who's sponsoring your future servers? That's question number one. Because if they don't know who pays for the servers, or how that's going to work, that game is not going to work if it's in a multiplayer, because servers cost you a lot of money every day, every hour, every player costs you money. And tons of MMOs shut down because they couldn't afford servers. So having a great partner in this direction was our goal. We got it. I'm very thankful. And we're going to go on Prime. There's also a Netflix gaming division. I don't know if you guys know about that, but it's even not known. But we have a one partner with us that works with Netflix gaming. Nobody knows about them. I say the main goals are Steam and Epic to gain the visibility, and then any other major console. However, if you really research, a lot of MMOs works directly from their own website, just by word of mouth, and there's a big MMOs, and not paying the 30% that you could really save. So we are signed with Epic for early first launch. So for the 6 months, we are exclusivity on launch with them, right? So what that means for us is no fee on initial sales. It's a big thing for a company when you really need to save the money, and don't buy private jets or Rollses or whatever. Nobody needs all this stuff unless it's the first time in your life. But I've seen a bunch of these gaming companies that you guys read tweets about, and there's no game released, but yet people are suing each other over $160 million jets. What? Where did you took 160 million from, and there's no games released? So for us, it's all been hilarious when we just work in small budget and we deliver this thing that other people just keep on promising, and there's nothing out there. So that's why we have this issue with NFT. Everybody just waves hand on me when they hear that we're in NFT space, because what happened. So we're trying to prove it's an I would say it's an uphill battle for everybody. Each of you works in that industry, so I know it's uphill battle. But I think these next 2 years, and I want to close with some positivity because I'm an endless talker. and this is just speculation, but if they really approved it and we're good in that direction for just saying that we are part of crypto, let's call it, or blockchain, and it's not a complete scam anymore because it's tradable there and there and there, that means we have a halving coming. We have this raise in the Bitcoin. Hopefully, I'm like 99% sure it's going to be really going up. What that means is the funds come again to crypto, again to these little coins that everybody has somewhere there, but hopefully they don't get mismanaged like they have been over the last 2 years, where these large companies would throw $1 million on this game, $2 million on that game, and none of these games exist. Just go and look up all these games that were funded. How many of them survived over the last 2 years, and where are they, and who's playing them? So, and that is the problem now. If you ask somebody, hey, Avalon needs $2 million to finish this and that, and they're like, oh no, we gave 20 to all these games and none of them worked out. So I hope 24 and 25 is going to be huge for us. But also don't write it too long, because you know how that ended in the previous years. We all write it too long. We were expecting way more that the market could give. People, when they see profits, they will take them. So just be ready for that. I'm actually surprised that they approved it and it's not on their Twitter yet. But they're scared of touching Twitter, I'm assuming. They're not going to touch Twitter and say, "Hey, we did something." Elon Musk should post something like, "Hey, I would like to say it's not hacked. It comes directly from me." So Tesla is now accepting Bitcoin. All right. Thank you guys so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Definitely. So we're going to have some leaving notes. WT, if you want to give some leaving thought, go ahead, bud.
No, I'm going to pretty much say what I had to say. I'm actually kind of busy right now, so I'm just listening as I work at the moment. But appreciate the thoughts.
And DeSeuss.
Hey, yeah, I really do appreciate you taking the time to come on. I apologize at the end there. I had someone come by. A pool guy was coming to look at something, but honestly, I like the direction that you guys are going. As you mentioned, like, this is a gamer's game. Like, this isn't some speculative project that you get in and hope like number go up type thing. And that's exactly what this space needs. Everything that you're focusing on, that you're focusing on for the right reasons, and taking the feedback seriously. So really excited to see this game grow more, and I want to play it. So I'll be jumping in the Discord to find out more.
All right.
And yeah, so I'm very glad you came on the Gamer Galaxie space with us today. You check all the right boxes for me. I love what you've got going on there, and judging from what you've been saying, it sounds like it's going to be a great game. So I'm very much so looking forward to playing it. And just wanted to say, you says you're opened up to marketplaces. Take a look at GameStop Player. It's not released yet, but they might check some of the boxes for you guys, and it might be a good platform for you guys to get your game out there even further. So thank you very much for coming. If you have any thoughts you'd like to leave on Avalon, go ahead, my man.
Yes, thank you for having us and listening to all the information that I gave you guys. I know it's a lot because it's an MMO, so it's a little bit more. We are hiring, so keep that in mind. Avalon looks for representatives to spread the word about Avalon to different directions. So we're open to that. Please join Discord. The main guys here, we're open to give you the passes, and please come and try and see it firsthand, and talk to your communities how you like what you see, and keep us in mind if there's any game awards going on that we don't know about. Seems like people missing the knowledge about Avalon, so we're just waiting for anyone that looks to be part-time hired as a representative. So come up to the Discord and open up the ticket. And thank you so much for having us. And our community can testify that we give back to community.
Great, thank you very much, and I will see you all on the next one, guys. DeSeuss is holding a space with Kieran Warwick from Alluvium in about 3 hours' time. So this was a great.
Actually, 2 hours from now.
Oh,
2 hours,
sorry.
just under 2 hours from now. So we'll be doing that.
All right, I'm gonna come to listen. All right, thank you so much, guys.
See you guys later.